The 6.5 is back, and we are virtually at Commvault Shift here talking some amazing data technologies. Daniel, it's great to see you, my friend.
It is good to be back. And yeah, I mean, data, cyber resiliency, security, so much going on, Pat. Of course, all wrapped around a 2023 theme that has been relentlessly centered around AI. It's another opportunity here to have a conversation with someone that I don't think we've ever had on the show before.
No, we haven't. First timer, I'd like to introduce our esteemed guest, Sanjay. Great to have you on the 6.5, and we hope that we're excited about the first one, but hope to see you on again.
Great to be here, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
It is great when we can kind of time travel around. We can be anywhere and everywhere, and that was one of probably the best outcomes of the difficult years we've just gotten through. Um, it's also very exhausting on Sunday, so you can see all of us in different places at once, but we're here together. So, you know, Pat and I have been following the company for some time, Sanjay, and you know, you're known as a leading data protection company, but here at the event, at least to us, it sounds like you're really changing. You're moving much more broadly. You're moving into cyber resiliency. Talk to us about how you're thinking about the market, how you're approaching. What do these announcements mean for what's next for Commvault?
That's exactly it. You know, the Commvault's been in the business for 27 years, and what we've done over these years is protect our customers' mission critical data. So we've kept ourselves very true to our purpose, and protection of data over the years has meant different things. Today, it's all about cyber threats, but we still have data centers, getting flooded or getting wiped out in a hurricane, or bad things happening on natural in natural ways, or insider issues and threats. So the old stuff doesn't necessarily go away, but there are new vectors that keep evolving, and cyber has become a key vector that we have to protect data against, because that's what the bad actors want. And what we're doing here at Shift is really, I think, turning the industry on its head, disrupting from within, and saying, the worlds of data protection as we've come to know it, and the world of data security as we have come to know it, are becoming one. And when they become one, the real purpose behind what you're trying to do is give your business resilience. And so today we're talking about cyber resilience, and that encapsulates a few factors around data protection, security, AI. You mentioned AI, and bulletproof recovery. So that's kind of the gist of what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, Commvault's a reflection of the market and what the market needs. We've matured over the years. We had this notion years back that perimeter-based security, we're going to keep everybody out, okay? And don't even ask us about what happens when somebody gets in to get them out. And then the industry realized that, okay, people are going to get in, and now how do we get them out? And then, we're in this third stage, which is, okay, they're going to get in. We have to get them out, but they're going to do some damage while they're here, and they might stay. Heck, they might be latent and sit there for a while. And then that's where ransomware protection and things like that came in. But I do have to ask, with this leaning into cyber resiliency, does it mean that data protection isn't important anymore?
No, it's the resiliency is sort of a superset. If data protection is still at the heart of it. At the heart of it, I mean, you spent, you sort of described the left, sort of the left side of that continuum, which is about defending and identifying and hoping that you can block them from coming in, and then assuming that they come in, which is what I like to give my peer group as advice, which is, please assume they're going to get in. If that's going to happen, how are you going to, ready yourself for it, and how you're going to recover yourself from that?
Right.
And so data protection is still at the very heart of resilience, but we're bolting on a ton of data security. We're bolting on a ton of AI, and really we've spent, in the past 10 years, over $1 billion in R&D, and a lot of that R&D is about recovery.
Yes.
Okay, and really making sure that if something bad happens, and recent studies show that bad things, every 60 odd percent of the folks we interview assume in the next 12 months something bad. It's highly likely that there'll be an infiltration within their defenses. So if that's the assumption, be ready. Cyber resilience becomes very important.
So you're building, you're expanding, you're platformizing in many ways. That's been the theme of tech companies looking for scale. Is it's not just a product, certainly not just a feature. It's about building a platform that it's extensible. Customers can do more of what's important to them, and that's what I'm sensing. So you have a platform called Commvault Cloud, powered by Metallic AI. I always make sure I get those right.
You got it right.
Great. Break those down though, because I think a lot of times what happens is companies kind of launch platforms. People kind of are like, product, platform, product. They're trying to untangle what's architecture, what's real. Break these apart really quickly. Kind of explain, how it's a platform, how it's relates to SaaS, and kind of, what the vision is of platformizing the Commvault portfolio.
Your question is, what makes it a platform? What happened to Metallic, the SaaS capabilities? How do these things come together? And that's a great question. I'm going to detangle it by starting with Metallic. We disrupted ourselves 4 years ago by building Metallic. We said, we know how to do data protection. We know how, we're the leaders in it. Can we do it better? And the world is moving to SaaS. Can we build a great new capability and a great new experience? And we almost created a startup inside of the company, funded it, ran it like a startup. We got Metallic. And for the past 4 years, Metallic has become, has been at the forefront of customers moving their workloads to the hybrid cloud. Okay, it was written ground up. It was a brand new SaaS platform. We've taken that and put it in the forefront of security. So our security capabilities, your immutability, your copies of your data that you want in a catastrophic situation, are protected and served up by Metallic. And we've learned so much being a SaaS platform in the past 4 years as customers. We have over 4,000 customers. It's one of the fastest growing infrastructure products in the history of infrastructure products. We just crossed 130 million in ARRs. We took everything we've learned for the past 4 years, all the customer feedback, their interactions with the technology, and infused it with AI, which we were doing anyway, because that was what we really saw AI playing a key part. Now, we've had AI in different ways, older generations of AI, capabilities of AI in the product. But now we've really infused it with all the new technology, the new AI. And we were able to take what we've built ground up and make it the platform for all delivery. And as we've infused it with security, as we put AI into it, as we put new workflows into it, and we took our old design principles of no workload left behind, and we've been able to bring it into a platform completely extensible, API based. In fact, we've got a new AI capability. We call it Arlie. Like everybody names their AI these days. So ours is Arlie. It's about autonomous resilience. That's the moniker. And what Arlie can do for you is spit out code that you can use to integrate into your environment. It can give you analytics on where you have vulnerabilities. It can do threat scanning for you and tell you, hey, this data looks like it's compromised. So we've brought all that into a platform, and we said, why should a customer have to choose unnaturally between software or SaaS? And so we've been able to engineer the control plane of this technology in such a way that it insulates itself from having to make those unnatural choices. So it brings it all together as a new platform. It's called Commvault Cloud, and it's powered by Metallic AI. So that's the genesis.
Yeah, I'm really glad to hear you talk like that. And what I mean by specifically is, I'm pretty sure all enterprises have embraced the hybrid multi-cloud. And that's not that they don't want to do the public cloud, and it doesn't mean that they don't want to do on-prem. The reality is that 75% of all the enterprise data is still on-prem or the edge. Okay. And that's after 14 years of the public cloud. Doesn't mean that there's something wrong with the public cloud or wrong with on-prem, but it's just the reality and the complexity. And what enterprises are looking for, one thing they're looking for is they want a single way to control and manage that data and protect that data, whether it's in the public cloud or on premises. So I applaud the approach, and to increase efficiency by layering on an AI assistant is obviously important. I think Dan and I have spent 75% of our time in the last 9 months as analysts in our companies fielding ways for enterprises to better field generative AI. So you're hitting on a lot of things there. I want to ask a very point blank question here. There's a lot of cyber resilience companies out there. How is what you brought out different?
It's a great question. So part of the approach that we take, and I'm gonna boil it down as much as I can, is no workload left behind. A lot of companies chase the new workloads, chase the shiny new toys in the cloud, saying, "Oh, we're going to protect the cloud native stuff." What about the 75%, to your point, that runs the enterprise today? You can't
Yeah,
just say we're not going to touch that, or we're
exactly.
not going to upgrade that, or we don't really like that. It's not cool. Our philosophy is no workload left behind, Patrick. And when I say no workload left behind, if I need to have some dinosaur system protecting this and some state of the art system protecting this and something in between here, and this workload, I'm not even sure it's protected.
Right.
Every one of those, when the light gets through that landscape, that fleet of technology, generational technology, the bad guys use those as vectors to get in. So first thing that we're different with is no workload left behind.
Right.
Okay. The second is no unnatural choices. Why do you have to choose between SaaS and software? Just because I
Exactly.
only have SaaS or I only have
That's right.
software? No, I'm going to give you both, and I'm going to give it to you in a singular unified control plane. Okay. Number three, policy engines. Let me tell you why our policy engine is so powerful. It cuts across any workload. So here, let's boil that down. If my policy engine supports 80% and not the 20%,
Right.
there's human intervention. That's a flawed strategy. We have a singular policy engine and now completely powered by Metallic AI. So those are just three of the top areas. Outside of that, we don't sprinkle things. I don't do storage one day and something else another day. I protect data, and with tons of security, tons of AI, and all about recovery. That's what makes us different.
Thank you.
Tons of AI. All right,
Tons of
you
AI.
just opened up a new qualifying
He
metric.
said it.
The Future and Performance Lab is going to be measuring metric tons of
Tons.
AI. Um,
let me give you a little thing, but that might get you to understand why I use expressions like that. When we were naming metallic, people go, "Well, metallic sounds like it sounds heavy, and this is a SaaS product." I said, "Metallic is also strong. It protects. It's hard to penetrate." And so for me, when I'm using, I tend to use weight-based, monikers for products and descriptors.
no, I thought that was actually pretty good, and I just couldn't miss the opportunity to transition so nicely into AI. So I appreciate you doing that. Uh, let's talk. Let's go there, Sanjay, because you said tons of AI, a lot of AI, a metallic volume of AI. Um, tell us a little bit about the AI story, because right now, what I would say is after something like 100 events year to date, not to mention thousands of virtuals and endless conversations, media questions, everyone's got an AI story. What's yours? What is the Commvault? We're different. We're doing this story.
Okay, so again, coming back to the company we are, when folks were ransomware washing stuff, we didn't. We
Yeah.
said at the end of the day, what you want to do is protect your data, and you're protecting it from cyber threats. So we just built lots and lots and lots of protection capabilities into the technology. We're the same with AI. Okay, people have made all kinds of announcements that you be the judge of how deep they are, how real they are, how much they work, or how available they are. But we didn't. We waited. We were building that technology. We were excited about it because the way our architecture works, it's not a bolt on. I'm not bolting on AI on top of something and saying, "Hey, here's a module. Let's AI." You'll see some of my industry, the industry do. It doesn't make sense. What we do, if you look at the life cycle of what we do, you can drive true operational efficiency with AI in the product. All kinds of automation, all kinds of operational efficiency, all kinds of analytics Because when I'm seeing tens of thousands of customers' data coming in and signals, and when we're talking to the ecosystem, we can really process that at scale, okay, and give that value back to our customers through their interactions with the product, the policy, the learnings, the detection, the threat analytics, all of that stuff. So the operational elements of it, the analytical elements of it, and the recovery elements of it. I mean, let me tell you the number one question I get from CIOs. Sanj, I get it. I get the fact that you guys know how to recover. Where do I recover from? Okay, now let's double click that, and I'll give you a premium example for AI in our product that's out with Shift with this release. Let's say the bad guys, the bad actors got in June. You didn't detect them at all. They were sleeping. They woke up, started moving left to right, and got someplace in August. And they delivered the payload in November. Now chaos hits. Where do you recover from? What's the cleanest recovery point for you in that life cycle of time? AI, our recovery modules that are now infused with AI will give you a very predictive date, time, recovery point that says this is the cleanest place to go. Not only that, we're using AI in the cloud to spin up a clean room, an absolute clean room environment in minutes, like this, okay? At a fraction of the cost it would take you to do it with your own capabilities. And with AI, we will take everything, the life cycle from the point that we tell you to recover from, all the way through recovery at a cost point that I challenge anyone to beat. So I'm giving you examples of AI being used operationally, used in an analytical way, and then most importantly, in my opinion, used for recovery and security. It's all there in the product.
So Sanjay, doing what you've done for so long, one thing I've noticed, and it's funny, I go to so many trade shows, and invariably I'll run across at one of your partners' trade shows, Commvault, right? You have anywhere from infrastructure providers to CSPs to solution providers, all over the gambit. And you're re-upping with this announcement here at Shift with partners. Can you talk about your integration strategy, partnership strategy, maybe in the context of the new offerings here with Commvault Cloud with Metallic AI?
Absolutely. So our philosophy has always been that you're backing something up to someplace. Okay, it's never that I'm just operating on my own. So, and because of our decoupled architecture, we can run on a multitude of servers. We can back up a multitude of workloads, and we can write to everything. So if I'm backing up an Oracle application, I need to understand the Oracle application so I can bring back state when I restore it. And so for us to partner, we have to first engineer very deeply. And that means we have to sit together and make sure that we're building a better integration, a real integration with real edge, so that when customers deploy our technology, all they do is tweak it to their environment. They don't have to go build the technology. That's our responsibility. And I think we've done well because of that. A big part of it is because of that. And now with Commvault Cloud, if you take that same philosophy and you say the continuum that you brought up earlier, Patrick, which says you go from writing from identifying and defending and all of that life cycle all the way to recovery. And if we think those worlds are coming together, I don't do those things. That's not what I do, but I talk to those things and they talk to us. And it's important for us to make sure that if the SIM or the source sees something, we bring it into our analytics and we make sure that is that data that we're backing up clean, not clean, quarantinable? What should we be doing with this? And so that the integrations now are in the world of security. You'll see a ton of, I'm using that word again.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see a lot of security-based integrations that are real, that are very important, AI-based. Okay, so that really, you're doing more with data. For example, with Databricks, we're doing some really, really cool things, and we continue across the cloud providers, because at the end, the cloud is still a destination that's going to be one, whether it's been 14 years or more. It's a destination, and folks are on the way. And so the cloud providers, the integrators who actually get things done for our customers, AI partners now, and security. And so we're not trying to do everything, but the platform, like you said, is extensible
Yeah.
and incorporates end-to-end capabilities for our customers so they don't have to do it.
Thanks.
So Sanjay, I always think it's the inside out perspective that can be somewhat of a limiting factor, and the outside in perspective that really drives companies that have the outside view of greatness, meaning their customers, their partners, their ecosystem, tend to always strive more when it's kind of insular. So as respective as CEOs of our company, it's great when we tell people we're good. It's better when the customer does, and your customers are CIOs, and you're a rare CIO or CEO because you were. And I say that because, Pat, we talked to dozens of CEOs in any given quarter, hundreds a year. I can't think of another one off the top of my head. I'm sure there is, that actually rose to this position of leading a publicly traded company through the technology or information role. Talk a little bit about that and give us your own lens, because this is in my opinion, going to be the lens of your peers and the ones that are relying on Commvault.
Sure.
You looked at the tech, decided this was something you could lead and be successful.
So I'm my own CIO's worst nightmare because I've been there. But I'm blessed in that I had the opportunity to be a CIO. I wasn't a career CIO, so I came at it as a business person thinking about the issues. And barely had I taken over that RSA at the time, RSA Technologies, which we had just acquired, was breached. And back then, a breach was not something you talk about over a cocktail in these days, where people say, "Oh yeah, we got breached last week, and we got this happened and that happened." It was unprecedented in many ways. It was I could write a book on what happened, but what it taught me was that they will get in.
Right.
And so fundamentally, that's the philosophy that I always work with. I'm not trying to scare people. There was a recent situation that we were involved helping with, where actually the damage was caused on the inside. It wasn't even, they didn't even have to jump over a wall or a moat. They were on the inside. So if you assume they're going to get in, let's look at it from the lens of what has to happen. What happens when you find out that you've been breached is absolute chaos, even if you've been prepared. And you go back to basics. The war room, what have you got? When do they get in? You're trying to do forensics. You're trying to track down. You're trying to shut off the network. It is chaos. And when chaos reigns, and when I was CIO and then it happened, there was no outside world telling you that it happened. Today, the bad guys are publicizing it the minute it happens. So every second feels like an hour. I've been in these situations. We help customers every day to recover. So the lens I always wear is, first of all, they're going to get in. Number two, it's an absolute kick in the gut, okay, to the IT and security organization, because they naturally feel they let their team down. And what you need at that point is not about finger pointing. What you need is technology that's been tried, tested. You have a playbook, and you can get on with it. You've tested it. You've been waiting for this moment, okay? And that is exactly what I try and the questions I ask my product teams is, from the viewpoint of a CIO, maybe an aging CIO, but a CIO all the same, okay? And say, what would happen? How would this help the CIO answer the questions? How does this accelerate the time to recovery? Okay? What cost is involved with this? Because at the end of the day, CIOs have to work off an envelope, okay, which gets smaller and smaller sometimes. So I think every one of those philosophies has found its way slowly but surely into Commvault Cloud. And if you look at things like cloud burst recovery, this is where we spin up a clean room like that in the cloud to get on with the recovery and not have to figure out how to do that. Or, the clean room itself ready on a button. You hit a button and you get a clean room, whether you're doing a simulation or you're doing a recovery, a real recovery. Okay. Things like that. And for better or for worse, having been a CIO, I think I speak for CIOs.
Listen, I 100% buy into the do something first and have empathy for your potential clients. I spent over 20 years in products, product management, product marketing, corporate strategy. And, my job as an analyst and the way that I run my company is exactly the same. So obviously, I agree with that. So as former CIO and CEO of a tech company, governance is part of the board process and part of the overall process. And we've seen boards be held accountable for the degree of cyber resiliency. We saw a recent CISO get charged recently as well. I'd love to get your take on boards assuming this risk, overall risk posture.
Sure. Private or public, and at some level, doesn't matter. If you're serving customers and shareholders of whatever kind,
Right.
this is a risk. This is not a looming risk. It's a real risk. It's not something that may happen. Most likely will happen. So if it's that dominant out there today, it behooves us all, in the positions that we have as CEO, to really look into it. Even if you're not an expert, get an expert. Get somebody who can advise the board on what needs to happen. There are a lot of folks that are smart and can do that, and get smart on it. Just like you are smarter on supply chain today than you were 3 years ago. Okay, because you had to deal with it. Everybody dealt with it. Now I'm saying my point of view is, whether the SEC mandates it or your own board mandates it, have a board member that's a lead on cyber issues. Make sure you're holding the management team accountable for cyber issues. Look at their test plans, look at their run books, and look at technology like ours to say, how much automation do you have? How much AI are you using to make it foolproof? These questions need to be asked. And you don't have to be an expert, but you have to have that lens of governance and making sure that you're asking the hard questions of the team to make sure they're thinking it through.
Makes it a board discussion, doesn't it?
100%.
Yeah, I've been saying this for a while. The conversations have gone across a continuum, Sanjay, over some period of time, with some companies kind of trying to figure out at the board CEO level, how do we minimize IT expense, right? How do we do as little as possible and then get away with it? And I'm saying we're seeing it shift. And obviously with the attention that breaches have gotten, with the attention of transformation and now AI, boards have become straight up technological machines. They realize that these companies cannot compete and we cannot govern if they don't lead on technology and they don't keep customers' data safe, private, and secure. You've touched on a lot of that here. We've only got about a minute left. I just want to make an observation and maybe get a comment from you. It seems to me like the Commvault that most people, it feels like this is a not your mother's Commvault moment. It's not your father's, are you kind of ushering in a new era and looking to be seen in a new look? Because it just feels very different. And by the way, as an analyst, this is a moment where I say different and good synonymously.
Well, thank you for noticing. We've been hard at work. I inherited a great team and great technology that we've shaped into some really good product. We've got over 1,350 patents in the field that we operate in. We've spent over $1 billion in 10 years in R&D, where we engineer. And what we've done over the past, at least the last 5 years, is really focus on the customer experience and making sure that we're delivering to the customer best of breed technology in a consumable way. And we're not afraid to disrupt ourselves. We did it with Metallic, and we're doing it again. And we're doing it again with Commvault Cloud. And the need of the moment is resilience. What we all should be worrying about, making sure our businesses can withstand things from the outside in. And right now the outside in is cyber, and we need to get really good at it. And we think what we're bringing to the world is disruptive and solid. So it is definitely not Commvault of 5 years ago or 10 years ago, for sure.
Sanjay, I want to thank you so much for joining Patrick and I here on the 6.5 Insider Edition, right from Shift. It's been great to talk about your announcements. I'm excited to continue to follow. I could say this on behalf of both Patrick and myself. We love to see innovation. We love to see how it creates more competition. More competition then brings more innovation. And as analysts, that's really all we can hope for. But best of luck. Best of luck with the event. Keep going. And we look forward to having you back again soon.
Thank you both.
All right, everybody, hit that subscribe button. Join Patrick and I for all our coverage here on the 6.5. For this episode, it's time to say goodbye. We'll see y'all later.